horror movies that people are monsters, and the greatest monsters are within us. And what those two films say is that all it takes is the right crisis, the right injustice, the right circumstances to transform any of us in this room into something quite evil. Think about last week. Did you read any of the reports or see any of the news broadcasts about Liam Neeson, the actor? He had revealed in an interview, just before his kind of big film was released, he'd revealed in an interview that 40 years ago, a personal and close friend of his was horrifically raped. And the perpetrator was never caught. And in his fury, and in his anger, and in his hurt, and in his upset, well, he confessed to a journalist that he ended up wandering the streets in areas associated with the ethnicity of the rapist, wandering around with a weapon, hoping that he could somehow get vengeance by somehow attacking someone from that community. You see, Liam Neeson did the unforgivable in our society because in a moment of weakness, he revealed his inner monster. And can I say something absolutely controversial this evening? I'm really not sure I'm any different. And I don't think you are either. You see, who of us has never been angry? Who of us has never said or done anything that we've regretted when we've looked back at it? Who of us has never been vengeful? And who of us has never deliberately sought to inflict some sort of hurt on another person? In fact, if I'm talking about me, I don't even have to be provoked by some terrible injustice to lash out at other people. I'll do it if I'm jealous. I'll do it if I'm disappointed. I'll do it if I'm envious. Do you know, I'll even do it if I'm tired. I will find myself hurting other people just to medicate my own pain. You know, I cannot escape the fact that despite what the world tells me, here's my confession for the night, I am responsible for countless moments of injustice. Now, call it selfishness, call it self-centeredness, call it weakness, call it lack of self-discipline. The Bible uses an ancient word for it, and it's called sin. And that word means anything that we do or think which is contrary to the way that our Creator has called us to live. And if you're wondering, He's called us to live in absolute harmony with both Himself and everyone else. I was wondering whether I would share this with you tonight, but I think it's helpful to illustrate the point. A number of years ago, I'm not going to go into details with it, I was leading a team and a whole host of people got very, very badly hurt. It was so serious, I enrolled myself to get some counselling. And over many sessions, the counsellor did everything in conversation to get me to say to myself, look, Matt, it's not your fault. Look, it's other people were the cause of it. It was just the circumstances. It wasn't you. And I really tried to say that and think it. And I really thought I believed it sometimes, but there was just no peace. There was just really no peace about it. And the weird thing was, the only place that peace came was when I actually put my hand up and say, no, the whole thing wasn't my fault, but I was partly responsible. And there is a corner of that jigsaw, of that whole picture, where I was the one who was causing the injustice. It's interesting, that's when peace came to me. I found freedom when I was able to put my hand up and say, actually, there is something about my past in which I acted like a monster. And the freedom came when I was able to say, do you know, in my future I will probably be a monster again. But why? Why was it so hard for me to say that? Well, look at Liam Neeson. He chose last week to reveal his inner monster, which he committed 40 years ago. And our society, our culture, social media lit up in total judgment and with an absolute desire for justice for that sin that he did to be slayed. And the judgment fell on Liam Neeson really, really hard, and it fell on him brutally. There were calls for him to cancel all upcoming publicity shots. There were people who said he's never going to work again in the film industry. This is it for him. He is finished. But you know, if you read any of the articles about Liam Neeson, there was a division of opinion, because some people said, look, can it really be fair that something that this guy did 40 years ago in his past should be punished now? And yet other people said, look, there's got to be justice. You can't just allow monsters, even if they're just attitudes, to freely wander and roam. They must be challenged. There must be punishment. There must be justice. And I think deep down, I think we know that actually we're no different to Liam Neeson. Can I say that boldly? I think we all have secrets. I know I do. I know that our monsters, if I can put it like that, they just come out in different ways, don't they? And so I was thinking about this, and I think really in our society we're kind of set up to fail. We're kind of stuck. We live in a world which is daily provoking us to be cruel, to be disappointed, to be upset, to be victims, and yet we have no choice but to somehow pretend that life is fine and we're okay and it doesn't matter. Yet all the time we simultaneously absolutely fear that one day we'll let our guard down and we'll slip up, and our true selves will be revealed and will be judged, just like Liam was. And society will cast us out, because that's what society does when it wants judgment. And of course the tragedy is, and again we kind of know this, if we live a lie, it will be something that we pay for with our physical health, with our mental health, with our spiritual health. It'll all unravel. We heard that in the interview just now, didn't we? If you live a lie, it's almost as if your very stitches and seams of your whole life eventually just begin to pull apart. But you know, there is an alternative. There is a way to get true peace. Let me tell you what happened a few years ago. I have a brother, he looks a bit like me, just a little bit shorter. He went to university in London, and when he was a fresher, he was walking home one evening, and he was walking just down a normal residential street when he noticed a car began to